Well, this segment's on a little problem I have with my sprayer. I go out and water my garden out in the woods, and I put 80 gallons of water in here, and I used to hook up the battery, use the hand wand sprayer to spray all the plants and make sure they get the water. And I got to thinking, what a pain in the butt that is, hooking up the battery, making the wear and tear on the pump just to water plants. So I went looking to see where I could drain from on here. Well, the company doesn't make a drain underneath there. And before, when I'd get done spraying my area and still have spray in the tank, the only way to get it out was just keep on spraying, keep on spraying. There was no drain on it, which the company has to have a legitimate reason for not having a drain. Otherwise, why in the hell wouldn't you put one on there? So I'm going to put my own drain in on this unit, and tilted it up, put it back on its end, and I found a spot underneath here that was flat and big enough to take the contraption I'm going to put in here to drain from. And first thing I did was take a hole saw and drill an 1.5-inch hole in there. Then I kind of thought, how am I going to get my 4 holes that I want to mount through in there concentrically? So what I did was found a little jar, put some tape around here, screwed this on, it's threaded, 2,000s, 3,000s. Then I put tape around here so that it would be centered in here. And basically, that unit stays there by itself with a press fit with both tapes. And what I have done is I have drilled 1 hole through there. Then I found that these shanks would hold it in there, and since I had the radial location that way, I would drill the next hole here and put a shank in there, and then I drill this hole and this hole. That way it would all be concentric and my 4 holes would be lined up properly. So that's how I put the mounting hole in the bottom of this tank. The plastic is about 1/4 inch thick here, and I filed with a round file to get the burrs and stuff off the outside. The next step I'll take is take a piece of paper and a block and make sure there's no ridges up here. But that's the progress I've made so far, and we shall continue on with the project. I looked around Ace Hardware and different hardware shops or something where I thought I might be able to make the drain out of, and what I found was a check valve, and tore it apart, took this off, took the guts out of it, and I found these 2 mating blue pieces that I thought might be able to seal up around there. And the precision surface was here on the side to seal. So I took a piece of sandpaper on a flat surface, laid sandpaper down, and took probably 8, 9 thousandths, 10 thousandths off of this surface to get all the imperfections out and make a good seal around here. Then I made myself 2 rubber seals that will fit between there, and that will go on each side of the sprayer tank, and hopefully the bolts will go through and connect and seal up, and that it will be my seal. Then, since this is threaded, I will use this to go into my units for my drain plug. So that's how the contraption is hopefully going to work, and we will see. Well, the next problem was, how am I going to get my top piece on top to get in and line up with my holes? So what I've done is I put 3 cut off screws into the screw holes of the piece, and I'm hoping to take this clothesline, this clothes hanger wire, and put it into one of the holes down there, and that hole will line up without the screw into the hole down there. And then I can reach through the bottom, wiggle it around, and bring my 3 screws down too. I'll lower with this string here and have it around here so I have some control over it, and I'm hoping I can get it lowered down in pretty close proximity, and then I can crawl underneath and wiggle it around and get the 3 screws through 3 holes. And if I have to fish it back out, I have this thread that I can pull the unit back out again. So we are going to try. Otherwise, you can't reach down into that hole from here and do anything. You have to find a way to lower this unit in place, and I hope this contraption does it. The clothesline wire will be in one of the holes down there, the furthest one away, so that it tilts this way, and that empty hole goes down and goes over the top of the empty hole down there, and the other 3 screws, with a little luck, might drop right into the other holes, but I don't think I'll be that lucky. So we're going to see how this process goes. Boy, that method really worked nice on bringing that down, and it just took a little bit of wiggling and all 3 bolts came through. And I've started the first bolt in the packet, and I've got it secured to the piece on the inside, threaded about halfway up the threads. And now I got to figure out how to take the other 3 screws out and pivot that piece around and start the other 3 bolts that will be permanent, and draw it up and seal it together. So I've got to do a little thinking now about how to maintain my rotation on the inside piece when I take these 3 screws out. They're going to have to come out for me to place that bottom piece in line with the 3 screw holes. So I got to do a little figuring now. Well, we've had very good luck with the technique that we used. I've got it all bolted in now, but how we did it was we took this clothes hanger and we brought it down the opposite side of the hole that we used with the clothes hanger before, which was right here, and we brought it down through, and then I was able to take these guide screws out, and basically we had this where it pivoted around, and I had my wife take that clothes hanger wire down through this hole to about 1/4 of an inch below. Then I rotated this around, and once we got that clothes hanger so we could drop it through, we did, and we dropped it through about here. Then I took these screws out on this side, and to get the first thing we did was take this screw out so we can get our clothes wire through here, and that kind of got our radio location. Then by hand I started this one and this one. You want to always start your bolts by hand for 2 or 3 threads, just to make sure you're not cross-threading anything. If you get 3 or 4 threads in, then you're in pretty good shape, but you don't want to just start blind with trying to force a bolt into threads. So we had great luck, and once we had these 2 in, we pulled the wire out and we put this one in. So that was the progress, and we're about ready to put our plumbing in and hook up our tubing. And I hope when we torque these down is very important. Plastic will distort on you if you torque too tight. So I torqued to where it was a snug fit, and over here, then here, then here, and here, till we got it where it is now. And I'm sure my rubber seals are in there snug and tight. And I've taken everything and turned it to where it was snug, and just give it maybe 1/8 of an inch more as I went around here. So that's where we are now. We're going to button up the plumbing, and hopefully we can button this up today. Okay, now I've got my adapter in, my small adapter, and my unit that will take my hose in. I hope I haven't over torqued anything. I feel that's tight enough that it should seal it. I rechecked the bolts on the Torx to make sure all 4 were about equal but not overdone. Needed a couple of nice sized wrenches to get the job done, but things are moving along very well now. I think we're completely done with this. I've left the hose out in the sun all day, and it expanded and it slipped onto the plumbing unit extremely easy. Put the clamp on, used the little driver here at a slow torque, and I believe we've got her done underneath here. So I'll just take you a quick picture of what it looks like from the inside. And I don't know if this will film or not, but you can see the 4 bolts that came up through the flange that goes on the inside here. They're torqued down well, and I hope it's all set to go. My first attempt at putting this drain in, I didn't use any sort of sealant. I just put the rubber to plastic and bolted her down. It leaked about 1 drip every second or so, so I tore it apart. I got some Permatex adhesive sealant, and I applied that to all mating surfaces and bolted it together. And now I can let this sit out here for an hour with a tank full, and there won't be 1 drop come out of it. So we're very successful on the second attempt at putting this drain in. And I will lower the sprayer and let you see how the total system works here. I've got a wand that came with it on the pump, but this tube comes down from the drain, and I wrap it around up here, put these 4-inch PVC pipes in so I don't put kinks in anything, and I've got a on-off switch on it, and I just bring about 20 foot of hose out to my plants, and I start letting it drain onto my plants. It takes about an hour for it to drain out, but it sure as heck beats the heck out of holding a wand, using a battery, wearing the pump out. I can just set it by a plant, go do a little weeding, go back and move it to the next plant. And that drain works so good, I'm thinking about putting one in right here with a spigot, so I can take my watering buckets out and just open and water the other plants while this is draining upon another set of plants. So everything was very successful on this job. Why the company don't make a drain like that underneath there, I don't know, but I'm very happy with my sprayer now. No more do I have to hold that wand, wear out my pump, and drain my battery down to water my plants. I just gravity flow and move the hose around, and it works really nice.